Welcome to Awakening You channel. If you appreciate what we do, please support us. Thank you. I'm Sananda. I'm here today, bringing a little more wisdom and a little more guidance to each of you. Don't forget that I was on this planet for a good existence. And I lived and felt a good part of what the duality of the third dimension is. So for me, it's often easy to understand exactly what's going on in each of your minds. My stay here on the planet, during the time that my physical body existed, made me know exactly in depth what our Father or Mother God wanted you all to know, and it also made me see how our words, even if we are instruments of God the Father or Mother, are not always fully heard and understood. I affirm here that the vast majority of those who are here, now, listening, listen out of curiosity. They don't listen with feeling, they don't listen as a teaching. Some would even say out of curiosity. Let's see what will be said today, what nonsense will be said today. Think about this, you have a place where you treat people, what you call hospitals. There are those seriously ill patients, there are patients who are almost cured. So doctors, when they treat these patients, have, or at least should, take greater care with those who are in serious condition. Because those who are practically cured have already been through the worst, they have already learned what they had to learn or maybe not. So doctors focus more on those patients who are sickest. Then something very interesting happens, those patients, who are almost cured, don't like it, because they lost that doctor's attention. And then they start to complain that that doctor doesn't pay them any more attention. And that doctor who, until days ago, was the God, was the Savior, was the one who managed to get him out of that serious condition, he becomes another person, he becomes a bad person, he becomes an unnatural person, simply because he no longer pays him the attention he was giving before. Oh, and he's giving attention to brothers who need it most. What do I mean by this parable? That you are never satisfied, you always want everything for yourself, you don't think about others, you rarely think about a brother. What I want to say here today is that the vast majority, a good majority, are simply ignoring everything that is said here, unfortunately. They think this is all nonsense. Interestingly, they listen every day to find out what the day's nonsense will be, but they don't miss a day. But for their immense ego, they do not accept anything that is said there as true. But by a strange coincidence, sometimes they find themselves doing what they heard. In other words, admitting that what is being said there is true, that it really is the speech and energy of a being of light, is unacceptable. Because he would be demonstrating his madness, in front of his friends, in front of those around him. So hidden, without anyone knowing, he believes in that. But when someone asks, "No, that's all nonsense, it's a lie. Sons and daughters, I went through this. I had apostles who died for me. I had apostles who denied me. So this for me is nothing new. I have already felt this feeling, and as you often say, I felt it in the flesh, I felt it alive, not in the spirit as I am today. So who do you think you're fooling? Who do you think are turning your back on? To a voice that is speaking there? Because many think that we are not the ones speaking. That is a person who decided to speak out and started dictating a series of videos every day. That behind there is no one. Look, I would say that this person would have to be extremely intelligent, to say exactly what we want. And everything coming out of her mind. No human is capable of this. So many of you let yourself be carried away by falsehood. They listen, they even believe, but when someone asks, they deny it, speak badly, they are against it. What do you think happens to your walk every time you do this? Does it go unpunished? It's as if it were that God that you shout that you love, but when someone asks, you blaspheme him. Does all of this go unpunished? Does all of this go by without anyone seeing? Because you think, that moment when you denied everything, you were pretending. So since it's an act, nothing happens. And I would say, you would be able to swear, that you never said that. So I can tell you that nothing in this world, no word goes unpunished. No word is left unsaid. Every word, every thought arrives somewhere, it is not lost in the wind, it is not lost in space, because that word, that thought, were felt. Let it be with pretense, but the feeling of denying something you believe is worthless, doesn't matter at all. So, many here now are wondering why I'm saying all this, they don't understand anything. Because they don't deny my words, they don't do anything I'm saying. It's good if all this doesn't resonate with you, congratulations to you, you are in the way. Now I can guarantee, that a large majority, everything I said here resonated. For those who have read my letters or are reading them, you know the difference between sheep and goats. And certainly, today the number of goats is much greater. Why? Because you just worry about frivolous things, about relationships, about meeting a lot of people. I'm not saying this is bad, no, it's not. As long as there is a positive feeling behind it all. When the groups here were created, Miguel and I had all the planning for how these groups would proceed. We had to change a lot of things at the beginning, and the groups became the study of my letters. Why? Because in my letters are the answers that many of you have not yet found. There are the truths that your religions did not tell. But what happens? You are very attached to beliefs, to conditions that were imposed on you from a young age, no matter the time. And it's better not to know the truth, it's better to remain in illusion, it's better to believe in what I see, even though it's wrong, I'm seeing it. So you better believe what I see. So for many, my letters didn't resonate, because they seemed like a succession of small texts, which made you think a lot. Many didn't understand, because they didn't want to understand, because I was there, on the side. I accompany everyone who reads the letters, giving insights, answering questions. That would be even worse. What do you mean, having me by your side is absurd? So many did not agree to read the letters. I'm not saying that you are obliged to be in groups, but this is also a learning experience. Why? Why listen to other people's opinions and discover that that brother is right and you are wrong? Many people don't like it. No, I'm not going to talk to anyone, what I understood is understood. I won't argue with anyone. But you got it all wrong, and you didn't give yourself the chance to hear what others understood, to make you think. So many use the excuse, I don't like that. You don't like it, because you don't want to expose your ideas and maybe they are wrong, and you figure it out. The ego doesn't allow it. No, what I understood is mine, no one needs to know. And deep down, you know that you didn't understand correctly, and you can't even be bothered to say anything, just look at what others said, to see how they understood. So maybe you can rethink and admit that you were wrong. No, never. Never admit that you are wrong. The ego is immense. So you use the old excuse, no, I don't like participating. If we thought it would be bad, we wouldn't have created it. Very good. So now, the objective of this meeting is to solidify learning, solidify understanding, solidify everything you have already felt and discovered. It's like a big test of how you are doing in relation to the cards. Do you believe 100% in what I said there, or do you still doubt it? What's going on in your hearts? So this encounter, which we call baptism into Gaia, many do not understand, why baptism in Gaia. So I will say, when I went to the Jordan River, to ask John the Baptist to baptize me, I knew in some way, that there would be a change in my being, in my life. And it actually was. It was my awakening. What can I say when we talk about baptism in Gaia? No one will get wet, no one will enter any river, but you will be known entirely, by the planet itself, by the one who gave you the necessary elements, so that you would be wearing this outfit that you wear today. This baptism, effectively and deeply speaking, is like a hug to the planet. It's like a hug to everything you believe in. It's like a hug to all the truths that are said there, in that book. Don't wait here for me to ban anyone from participating. No, I won't. I am not a dictator, nor authoritarian for that matter. I just want you to reflect, how do you feel about participating in all this fuss? Is it a way to redeem yourselves, for everything you didn't do? Is it a way of thinking that whoever participates there will be fully ready for the fifth dimension? What feeling is driving you, who never paid attention to my letters? To you who shrugged your shoulders when someone asked you to read it and you said, I can't believe all that. So why are you going to this baptism? Because, if you don't believe anything in my letters, what are you doing there? Wanting to redeem yourself for your mistakes? So I assure you, that won't happen. You are doing a great journey of initiations, within each ray. And it was said, that not everyone would be initiated. Why? Ah, but if I'm doing everything correctly, why haven't I been initiated? Think. It's time for you to do some self-analysis. Would you actually be ready for such an initiation? Have you really stripped yourself of all the beliefs that prevent you from moving forward? Have you really met all the requirements to be initiated? So I say and affirm, that whoever is not or was not, it's because something is missing. In the same way, I will draw a parallel to this meeting. Whoever is prepared, whoever is following the path correctly, will receive the baptism of Gaia. Now who is going, without ever having prepared with anything, without ever having done anything for himself, just for the purpose of being together, and for tomorrow, spread the word on your social networks that you were there. I'm sorry to tell you that you will waste time, because Gaia will not baptize you. So I'm coming here today, to ask a big question, and I'm going to leave this question in the air. What is your feeling in going to this meeting? What is the feeling? Is it the real feeling, of a soul that is walking, that is changing, that is preparing, that is doing everything possible and impossible, to be there in the fifth dimension? And this will be just another event on your journey, or not? Or you are the one who has never done anything, never prepared for anything, but now wants to go there and be baptized. I think you don't quite understand what we've been trying to say here all this time. I repeat again, I don't forbid anyone from going. If it will do you any good to be with other people, just to take a photo and share it with your friends, great, be happy. But don't expect Gaia's baptism. The condition of Gaia's baptism, no, is not being in groups, not reading the letters. This would be an additional, and very strong, addition to your journey. But you may not even do this, but be preparing, being ready, fulfilling all the necessary precepts, for the fifth dimension. Very well, Gaia will see your energy. So I can assure each of you, not everyone will be baptized. Those who never did anything, never spoke out in favor of anything that was for their evolution, they are going because it is a big event and they like participating in events. So go, participate in the event, but you won't get anything in return. Because you can deceive whoever is next to you. You can fool whoever you want, but not me and not Gaia. So once again, I will repeat, the energy of each one of you is stamped on each one's body. In the same way that we see the energy of each of you, Gaia also feels it. Then she won't be fooled. So don't expect gifts, if you haven't done so. It is as if, for those who are on the walk, who are preparing, who are practically ready for the fifth dimension, it is a graduation, in which they will earn the diploma, which will be the baptism of Gaia. Now those who have never studied anything cannot earn a diploma. So think hard. Why are you going to participate in something that you've never done before? I do not demand that you read my letters, I just say that there is the whole truth, and there is a whole path, which if you follow, you break all the beliefs you have that limit your path. So I can say that this is the beginning of your journey to the fifth dimension. But you don't want to read, you don't want to get rid of anything you believe in, fine. So you are actually part of the goat group. Those who live in despair, trying to find support in something, because they want to evolve, but they don't know how. While the sheep, those who listen, those who have the courage to say goodbye to everything they believed wrong, are there on the journey, and will earn their graduation diploma. So, with my words today, I ask you to really rethink the feeling with which you are going to this meeting. Don't think you're going to deceive anyone, because you won't. Gaia will give you nothing, essentially nothing. The idea is not to meet, for a picnic, the idea is a graduation, for those who are actually walking, studying, doing everything they can, to evolve. I don't forbid anyone from participating, you have the right to come and go, and you are free to do whatever you want. Just don't expect a return, just don't expect that you will be blessed with graduation, because you won't be. We are not doing things for the sake of doing them, everything has a reason. You think not, but everything has a reason. This date was not chosen out of nowhere, there is a reason. So rethink a lot, what you actually want from this meeting. Because, don't expect gifts, just for being there. My brothers, the ego is something essential to your life, because it keeps you alive. But at this point in the journey, letting the ego speak first is dangerous, very dangerous. And you simply withdraw more and more from the right path. So I end my speech here today, with this question: what is the feeling you are taking into this meeting? What is the feeling? Think hard about it. I am Sananda. And effectively, I would like everyone who is desperate to join the groups, to already be there, showing that they are preparing themselves, they are actually ready for something. Other meetings will come, but the next one will be different. Either you participate in what is being proposed here and effectively, give up your egos, to listen to the other's opinion, or you will not participate in anything else. It's as if this first meeting was an experience. So rest assured, the next one will be very different.